Hong Kong's chief executive, Carrie Lam, says Beijing will not back down on plans for a controversial security law for the city. Mrs. Lam is in Beijing with other members of her cabinet discussing the new law with Chinese officials. Now, despite concerns that it will erode Hong Kong's freedoms, she says the law is needed to ensure national security and it won't affect the majority of people. Mrs. Lam has also called out foreign governments who have criticised the law.
The international community and some of the foreign governments have been adopting blatant double standards in dealing with this matter and commenting on this matter. It is within the legitimate jurisdiction of any country to enact laws to protect and safeguard national security. USA is no exception, UK is no exception. So why should they object, resist, or even condemn and take sanctions against Hong Kong and the People's Republic of China?
At the same time, China has warned Britain to stay out of Hong Kong affairs. Britain has stepped up criticism of the national security legislation. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has promised to give millions of Hong Kong residents visas and an eventual path to citizenship if China goes ahead with its plan. Olivia Song joins us now for more. So, Olivia, Mrs. Lam sending a strong signal that this bill will take root in Hong Kong.
Well, Glenda, I guess you could say that the central government's message was made loud and clear through Mrs. Lam as she met the media in Beijing after her meetings with Chinese Vice Premier Han Zheng, who is the state leader in charge of Hong Kong affairs, as well as other Chinese officials, including the Public Security Minister of China, Zhao Kezhi, as well as the Director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, Xia Balong. And Mrs. Lam said the meetings went on for about 3 hours, and she said that the Chinese Vice Premier made very clear that the central government remains unwavering in wanting to push through this national security legislation for Hong Kong. This even amid mounting pressure from the US and the UK calling on China to change course, and even as critics of the move say that this national security law would erode the freedoms and autonomy enjoyed by Hong Kong. But Mrs. Lam said that the Chinese Vice Premier continued to reiterate what has been Beijing's defense of its latest move, saying that this national security law only targets a small minority of people and will not undermine the interests and the rights of the large majority of people in Hong Kong who are law-abiding. Now, Mrs. Lam also said that Beijing, moving forward, would solicit the opinions from people in Hong Kong from various sectors. But when she was asked whether or not she had, told the central government about the opposition that has been voiced from some quarters in Hong Kong, Mrs. Lam would only say that in this information age, central government officials would be well aware of the views from Hong Kong and abroad on this very important matter. And she said that she doesn't believe that the chief executive has to fly to Beijing to personally reflect these opinions again. And she added that the Hong Kong government would fully support this national security legislation.
Olivia, in the meantime, China has also reacted very strongly to the UK for what it calls interfering with Hong Kong.
That's right. So the Chinese Foreign Ministry today hit back at Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab's comments in which he warned China against destroying one of the jewels of Asia's economy, referring to Hong Kong, and also calling on China to step back from the brink to respect Hong Kong's autonomy and China's international obligations. But the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson, in response to this, said that Britain had no jurisdiction or supervision over Hong Kong, and that any threat to the city's stability and prosperity comes from foreign forces, and that enacting national security legislation in Hong Kong is within China's exercise of sovereignty. Have a listen.
中英联合声明没有任何一个字、任何一个条款赋予英国在香港回归后对香港承担任何责任。英国对回归后的香港无主权、无治权、 无监督权。因此，英方无权假借中英联合声明，对香港事务说三道四，干涉中国内政。
And this also comes as we've seen British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, say in an op-ed piece that, Britain will not walk away from the Hong Kong people, adding that if China were to enact this national security law, the UK would allow those in Hong Kong who hold British national overseas passports a path to British citizenship, and these are passports that were issued to those in Hong Kong prior to the 1997 handover, and currently about 350,000 in Hong Kong hold this passport, and Mr. Johnson said that about 2.5 million would be eligible to apply for one moving forward.
All right, Olivia, thank you very much for that. Olivia Xiong there with that report.